Hello, everyone, and welcome to Everything Under the Moon. I am your host for the evening. My name is Becky, and with me tonight, I have Kyrra. How are you doing, Kyrra?
Hi, Becky. I'm doing
Hello. I can't hear
well.
you guys.
Debbie, check your messenger. I sent you a message. You might have to exit and come back.
I
All
heard
right.
your intro music. I can see you guys, but I can't hear you.
Yeah, you may have to exit and come back. Kyrra, if you want to type that in the chat for her.
That's what I was doing. Yeah.
Yeah, we're having some technical difficulties with Debbie, so she may have to leave and come back. Hopefully, we'll get that situated.
Oh,
But
seriously.
Kyrra, you had like so much traveling going on lately, which is why we had to postpone one of our shows because you were actually in flight on the day we were supposed to have a show.
Yes. A good thing we did too, because it got delayed. Yeah, mid-flight. I was in Seattle, which was a really fun time, doing like a 1-year anniversary trip with my boyfriend, and that was really fun. We didn't get to do any of the like Seattle Underground or any spooky stuff, but surprisingly, it was sunny in Seattle in January. So that's a win.
You took it, huh? You were like, that's a
Yes.
win.
Yes, it was a win. We got to do some fun stuff. And this was fairly cheap because it was January and people aren't typically in town. However,
Right.
we were in town because that's the Seahawks had their like game there for the
Mhm.
Super Bowl, like that divisional thing. So like it got full with all the Seahawks fans who like flew in and stuff. Because like my flight when we were going, it was full of people with Seahawks hats. We were like, all right.
You're on the right flight then, huh?
Yeah, no, I was like, that's wrong sport for me. I'm the hockey person, not so much the football person, but
Yeah.
like whatever. And then I just got back last night at like 9 p.m. from Ohio. So that was good. It was very cold. I hit negative temperatures for the first time ever in my life.
I remember.
It was snowing. However, it was kind of sunny. Felt, the sun was helping, but it was really interesting. We were in Athens, Ohio, and there was. Can you hear us now, Debbie? Guess not.
Yeah.
We I was going around the university out there,
Mhm.
and they have like a building that like the university kind of acquired, but it used to be old asylum.
Oh,
And
wow.
so here it's like haunted and everything. And so we like drove up the road and like took a look at it, and I was like, yeah. But the stereotypical asylum that you see on all the ghost shows, it was
Oh,
this
wow.
place. And I was like, ooh, I was like taking all the pictures of it. It was great.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I remember living in Ohio and having those negative temperatures. They were horrible, horrible, but you live there, you get used to it. But being from Arizona and going there, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine what you were feeling.
Oh yeah. So like when we got on the plane, because my flight was at like 4:30 Friday night. And so it was like 70 something here,
Right.
right? I'm like, I make it to because I flew into Columbus and it was all of like
Hmm.
8
I
degrees.
could hear you guys when you did your intro, but I can't hear you now, but I can see you guys good.
Debbie, check your messages.
Hang on.
Stan, she might be having some technical issues. I'm not sure if you can help her out and explain to her what she needs to do in the chat. I honestly don't know why she can't hear us, but I can hear you, Kyrra.
Yeah,
So
so
I think maybe
it
she
does.
has some type of setting wrong. So we'll just
Yeah,
keep going on until she can join us. But
yeah. But I was gonna say, I was like, I went from it was like 70 something degrees, and then it was like 8 degrees when I
yeah,
landed in Columbus. And then in the morning when we left my friend's place that I was staying at, it was -3 degrees. And so I was like, ooh.
yeah, that's one thing I don't miss from Ohio is those cold, cold temps. I still have a lot of family back there. I still have friends back there. And I do not feel, I feel so sorry for them, but I am so glad that I'm not back there.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, I'm in like shorts yesterday and today, you know, and it's like no regrets, you know, no regrets.
Yeah.
I do miss the scenery though. When it's not covered in ice and snow, Ohio is very pretty.
I thought it was pretty though because, like I said, there was a lot of snow, so it
Mhm.
just
I
looked
can't hear
really
you
just
guys,
nice.
but I can see you guys.
Okay, Debbie, check the chat. I'm hoping our producer Stan is communicating with Debbie. We are sorry for the technical delays. I'm not really sure
Says
why
I'm
Debbie
on the
can't hear us.
show.
Until Debbie can hear us, we can't really have a show with her. So, yeah, I have no clue what's happening there. But yeah, Ohio is beautiful. I miss the water, to be honest with you. I miss
Yeah.
water. You know, being out here in the desert, you don't see water, and that is like the
Yeah.
thing I really miss. And the green, because our green out here is more brownish green. I don't know. How
Yeah.
do you
Yeah.
describe our green?
No,
Like,
no, I agree. It's like that more just like that brown undertone. Like
yeah,
it's not a vibrant green or like anything like that. Yeah.
yeah,
It's
like
very
Ohio is
muted.
just
It's
so
very
bright
muted green.
green and so pretty. I miss that. I will definitely admit I miss that stuff. Can you hear us now, Debbie? I have a feeling she has some type of setting wrong on StreamYard or something that's not allowing her to hear us. I'm not really
I
sure.
can't hear them at all. No.
Yeah, I have no clue what's going on there. But to our audience, I do apologize. We'll hopefully get this taken care of. If not, we'll have Debbie come back another night. You
Yeah.
know, things happen, things go crazy. Who knows?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But I thought, like I said, it was just like the bare trees and everything, but it looked really pretty with all the snow because there's a lot of snow because the weekend before is when that huge winter storm hit, and I was like, thank
Mhm.
God I did not was not planning to go because I wouldn't have made it or I would
Yeah,
have been stuck for way too long.
yeah,
So if they still had all the snow from that, so there was like a good foot of snow and stuff, so it was really pretty.
yeah. I lived there when there's, you know, like a blizzard and the snow was, you know, completely up to, like, you know, your front door type thing. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
not cool. Debbie, can you hear us now? Apparently not. I feel like what?
Yes, I could hear you guys when you did your intro, but in your music, but then after that, then you guys went on out.
Okay, Stan's gonna help you with that. Hopefully, I feel like what was it? Was it AT&T or Verizon that always said, "Can you hear me now?"
No, I don't
yeah. Oh
know.
yes, yes,
Oh, like I feel like we're that. Can you hear us now? Can you hear us now?
no, for sure. Just like oh.
I'm like, I don't know what to do. I am not a technical person, so I can't help anyone when it comes to stuff like that. Usually it's me having the technical issues. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I am no help. I will admit that right out. I'm no help. In fact, I was discussing with the team about publishing my book finally. And I'm going to go ahead and self publish. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, I know that I personally am going to have to transfer some stuff into like
No, I can't hear you. I'm
systems.
using a phone. Yep.
You know, and
I'm using the phone.
being that I'm
And
going
I
to
have it
have
on.
to put things into the computer myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'm praying. I'm like, please let me do it right. Please don't let me mess up.
All the way up.
I'm like, I don't know because I'm so technically challenged. I'm scared that I'm going to mess it up. I'm like, I'm going to go put the entire book in it, hit something, and it's going to like all delete it. I'm going to be like, crap.
Well, that's why you just do copy and paste, so you could always paste it in again, right?
Yeah. I'm hoping it's that easy. I'm
I don't know.
hoping, but
I
who
would
knows?
assume maybe it's just like probably downloading a PDF and uploading it as a PDF.
I'm hoping.
So
I don't
I would
know.
assume it's something
I'm
like
like,
that.
there's a part of me that's so scared to do it because I'm like, I know me and I know me with technology, and I'm so afraid.
You have to get Aubrey to do it. Just be
I know.
like
Or
here.
Bailey. They're
Or
better
one
with
of them,
technology.
both of them will be great. They could do it.
I'll be like, girls, come do this. Don't let
Yeah,
mommy touch
exactly.
it. You know,
Yeah, yeah. You're like,
because
is
if
it
I
done?
touch it, who knows what's
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
happen?
You're
It's
like,
going to end
hands
up
off.
in outer space somewhere. I might have some aliens reading my book.
Hey, that'd be great.
Hey, they might come visit then. You
Yeah,
know,
exactly. Then we can add it to another book.
they'll be like, hey, we liked your book. And I'll be like, great. At least somebody did. But no, I decided to go ahead and self-publish. I was talking to Mercedes. If you watch this network, you know who Mercedes is. She self-published some books, and she's done it a couple times. So I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna take the plunge. I'm just gonna do it because I've been putting this off, putting this off, putting this off, and the book's been basically done. But I keep
Yeah.
wanting to add. I keep wanting to change things. I keep wanting. I'm like looking for perfection. And I don't think I'm ever going to find it. You know, I think I'm just going to be so picky because I just want this perfection that doesn't exist in the world.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Um,
it's never gonna
yeah,
be perfect, but
yeah. And, you know, my husband was just like, you know, just publish it. He's like, just publish it. And if you want to add stuff, write a second book, you know, that you
yeah,
have a second book for. And I'm like, I'm just so nervous, I guess, because it's going to be the first thing that's completely mine.
yeah.
You know, I've been featured in like 5, 6 different books. I'm going to be featured in another one. But this is all me. This is all on me, you know? And I'm like, I'm
Mhm.
so nervous to publish it. But I do. I just got to take the plunge, not worry about it. There's just a couple things that I do need to get in there and fix because after you guys, you know, you did the history part, May did the, you know, grammar thing that she does.
Mhm.
But while you guys were doing that, I remembered a couple things from my old house that I wanted to add in there. So I was like, okay, well, I don't want to do it while they're doing their thing because I don't want to mess with it.
Mhm.
So I do want to add those things in, and then we got to come up with a cover and a back cover, and then we should be good, and hopefully self-publish. So hopefully within a month or two, I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Really crossing my fingers. Debbie, can you hear us now? I'm guessing that's still a no.
Yeah. Oh no.
Still a no.
It's like weird, guys, because I can hear you when I just go on your Facebook page, but when I'm on here, I can't hear you at all.
We might
So I
have to
don't know what the
reschedule
problem
you.
is.
We might have to reschedule you and figure it out another time. It might be dealing with StreamYard. I'm not sure. Like I said, Stan's the
Very
expert on this.
strange.
Stan's the expert on this, not me. So we might have to reschedule Debbie, and I do apologize if that ends up happening, but it does not look like tonight's turning out too well. Might have to do a test run with her before we do a show with her next time.
Yeah, for sure.
Stan, if we can't get it to work with Debbie, can you please just let her know that we'll reschedule her so we're not constantly doing this? Can you hear us now? Commercial.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go to your Facebook page.
I don't know if that will work.
I mean, she could watch it, but she wouldn't be able to
Yeah,
like.
she wouldn't. Yeah, because everything would be delayed, I think. So she wouldn't really be able to do anything. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't know how that would work because I think our Facebook is like a couple second delay, I think.
Yeah.
So I don't think that would really work with the communication part of it. It's not going to be a good interview because they'll all be delayed.
Yeah.
So I think we're just going to have to reschedule Debbie and have her back another time, and we'll do a test screen with her to have her back. I think that's going to be the only way that works, which is fine. You and I can talk this hour. We got a lot going on anyway and a lot coming up.
Oh yeah.
You know, like I said, we're working on the book, and I'm hoping as long as we can get that cover and back cover done. And I guess it really depends on how long it would take me to get it self-published.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how long that would take.
I have no idea. I've never done
Yeah.
self-published before.
Yeah, so just depending on how long that takes. My book could be out soon, hopefully, and it's going to be called Paranormal. I'm excited and nervous, very, very nervous. I think overexcited. Once it's like done, and in there, I'll be excited because
Yes.
then I'll know that I didn't, mess it up.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm more nervous that I'm going to mess something up.
Yeah.
I'm like, geez, me and computers. Yeah, this is going to be fun. Uh, but hopefully, it will all go well. I had a full tour. I was so
Oh,
excited.
yay.
I know. So the Tucson Ghost Company, we had a lot of issues with our walking tour. We had to go through so many changes because we had those lovely other people move in that we won't say, anything more about, the nationwide ones. Um, so we had like two companies come in, take over downtown. They started using Tucson Ghost Tour. So we changed the name because I'm like, I don't want to go through all these legal battles. I've been Tucson Ghost Tour since 2013. But I'm like, what a pain in the butt that's going to be to go through a legal battle. I'll just
Especially you, right? You're the local. This is your only thing. The
yeah.
other one, right, has thousands at this point.
Thousand.
Probably at least, other things going, other locate like places and stuff going on. I feel like so, like they, yeah, it would
Yeah.
not have been pretty.
Yeah. And I'm like, it wouldn't be worth my time, my money. So I changed it to Tucson Haunted History, but then I guess someone else used that one. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And I'm like, no matter what I do, they're going to just kind of steal from me, it seems.
Yeah.
So I kind of became invisible. The Tucson Ghost Company kind of became invisible, compared to these other two tours that moved in, especially the one. And for the past like year, I have not had a full tour. It's like I would get people here and there, signing up. October was horrible. Usually October, every tour is booked. I had like 3 or 4 tours and they had like 3 to 4 people. I mean, it was horrible. And the other day in January of all months, I actually had a almost completely full tour. And I was like, oh my God. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Was it one really big group or did a bunch of people just like see it at the
Well,
same time?
it was 3 different signups, but apparently 2 of the groups were together and they were
Okay.
celebrating apparently a girl's birthday, like a teen girl's birthday, from my understanding.
Okay.
I wasn't there because I have employees that do that. I was up in Tombstone. But it was celebrating a birthday and they wanted to do a ghost tour because that was what their daughter is into. So these groups signed up. But luckily, they did their research. Yay for them.
Yay.
And they wanted to do local because they know through research and through, everything that the local ghost tours are the ones that get the history correct and the ghost stories correct.
Yeah. Like,
The others just make it up as they go. They don't really bother.
right.
They look it
Yeah.
up online or they steal from other people. So luckily they researched, they saw that I was the local and original ghost tour. And so they signed up with me because of that. So I was like, yes. So I am really, really happy that some people are starting to realize, do that research, find the ones that are locally owned, that say either locally owned or original or, whatever. And if you see that they have them, in every single state, they're not locally owned, or every single city or whatever, they're not locally owned. We work out of 3 cities, 3: Tucson, Tombstone, and our new one, Florence. But other than that, we're not all over the place. And we don't actually do ghost tours in Tombstone. We do ghost hunts. And in Florence, we're going to start doing more. And in all honesty, we are going to start focusing on Tucson and Florence the most. Florence, I'm really excited about. We got to investigate the museum out there. And it was really exciting. We had some interesting things. The only problem that we had that night is that it was very rainy. And we had some contamination because of the rain, and we did not get to go outside and explore that area because it was downpouring and puddles and all that stuff. So I do want to try to go back. I don't know if we will get the chance before event there, but at some point in time, I do want to go back and explore that section they had outside because they had a lot of uh, antiques and vintage stuff out there, and I'm sure that could carry some energy there too.
Hmm.
But this museum had things from like the prison. It had one of the gas chamber chairs.
Yes.
Yeah, that was interesting. And they had, some original, things that dealt with like the prison. Some things they had like one of the what was it, like a rag doll or something that one of the murderers made or something. I'm trying to remember
Yeah.
the story. She like murdered her roommates or something, and she like designed like little rag dolls or something. I can't
Yeah.
remember the exact story right now.
Hmm.
But they had different things like that and other stuff. It wasn't just all prison stuff. Um, Very interesting. We're going to do our very first public ghost hunt there on February 28th.
Woohoo.
Yes, very exciting. And all museums in general are very rich in history. And, even if you don't get paranormal activity, it's just the fact that you're sitting in the dark with all that history. You can just feel that energy. It's just that feeling.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm really excited about that. We're going to do lectures that day for free. Mariel, who's the director, is going to do a history one. And then you're going to do how the history and paranormal tie in together.
Hmm.
And then I'm going to talk about, paranormal in general, because that's what I'm good at. You're good at the history part. And Mariel's the director of the museum, and she's very good with history too. So we're going to tie all this in together before our ghost hunt, and then have like a little break before the ghost hunt, and then we'll do the public ghost hunt. I think we're going to do these monthly, not the lectures, but the ghost hunts. And then we're hoping to expand other things in Florence too. But we're hoping to work with Florence at least once a month and be down or up there, according to Tucson, once a month. And it's nice for you because it's closer to where you live.
I was gonna say I feel very glad to hear about that as someone who lives in the Phoenix area, because going to Tucson or Tombstone was just a lot, was starting to really just like get to me and things. So going to Florence is a lot easier, and it's a lot easier to like be there later, not have to worry about, a really long drive home, things like that. So I'm super excited.
Yeah, I know when we did the investigation in Florence, you were the first one home that night. Usually you're the
Yes.
last one.
Yes.
And you were like, hey, everyone, I'm home. And we're all still driving.
Yes.
So it was really nice for you.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think Florence is about an hour and 10 minutes from Tucson, something along that line. And Tombstone's like an hour from us. So no matter what, that's, kind of an hour drive. But for you, Tombstone was like, 2 hours.
Yeah,
And some
Tombstone was 3 hours.
Oh,
Tucson
3 hours.
2 hours. Yeah. Tombstone
Oh,
was
wow.
rough. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I was always like, if you don't want to do Tombstone, I get it. Those late nights, I totally get it. But, the Florence, that's going to be, a lot closer to you. I'm really excited too, because it seems like Florence is very excited to have us there. Everyone I've talked to seems like really excited. It's like the minute you mention like, ghost and stuff, they're like invested, and they're very invested in having, people come out there and more attention to them. I mean, they're just a little small town.
Yeah.
So I love little small towns like that. And I would love to be able to help them any way I can. So I'm really, really excited to work with Florence.
Yeah,
think
I
that's
feel
gonna be
like
really good.
too, because like they have a long history, just like even older history than like Tombstone or whatever,
Mhm.
but they don't get the tourism like, Tombstone does, obviously. Obviously there's like a small bit, but like the big thing they are known for is the prison.
Right.
So
Right. But they have
yeah,
history there too, because
exactly.
they have some type of shootout that happened there too.
Yes, and I have a decent amount of information all about it and all my my big research document. I have all my research on that I've done so far.
All
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I love that you like go down those rabbit holes when it comes to the research. It's like the things you find, I find so interesting. It's like I can do like general research, I know how to do that. I can get the general information. I can usually find out, okay, that wasn't right or what have you. But you go down that rabbit hole and you find out information that I could never find. Just like, with the whole JoJo's thing and you finding out about the whole, livestock there and everything. And I'm like, oh, well, that explains why I heard a horse there that one time.
Right? Yeah.
It's like the more and more you dig down that rabbit hole, the more and more we find out where I connect the dots going, that makes sense now. I
Yeah.
understand why I had that experience.
Yeah. And also it does, like I said, gives that validity to stories we do have. Or also too, you can be like someone has like a claim about something and you're like, okay, that makes absolutely no sense based off of like the history or whatever. So you can
Right.
make sure that we're telling things that like I guess are like more factual, things like that.
Right. Unlike,
So
some other people that just throw things into their tours. We try to stick with facts. And if
yeah.
we don't know for sure if they're facts, then we say allegedly. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Because we don't want to be stuck in a lie.
Yes.
That's one thing about me. And one reason why I was so picky with my book, because I was under contract like, oh my God, 7, 10 years ago. I can't even remember how long ago it was. I was under contract to write a book. Um, but the way they wanted me to do it, I couldn't be like upfront and honest with everything. I had to go ahead and play into, the folklore lore of stuff, and um, not be able to say, but there's no truth to this. They didn't want me
Mhm.
coming out and saying that. But for
Yeah.
me, I want people to know, hey, there's no truth to that. Like the whole slaughterhouse thing.
Hmm.
It drives me crazy because there's that tale that's been going around about how an uncle killed, sometimes it's a
Yeah.
niece, sometimes
Yeah.
it's a nephew, sometimes it's both. And then he put them in the meat grinder.
Yeah.
There's no truth to that at all.
No,
But
not at
that
all.
goes around so much.
Hmm.
And they're like, this is why it's haunted. No, that is not why it's haunted.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know and when I was under contract, they wanted me to leave that in the book and not say anything about it, like about it, not being true, being false. My research shows that it's not true. They didn't want me to add that part, and I'm like, I
Yeah. I
could,
can't. I can't.
yeah, I'm like, subconsciously I could not do that. I'm like, I don't want people reading this and thinking that I'm admitting that that's a true story.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't write this book. I'm like, I'm sorry. To me, I have to tell the truth. If I get things wrong, then I get things wrong. But if I know it's wrong, I'm not gonna, tell it. I
Yes.
can't do that. That's not who I am. So I ended that contract. And so I've been writing a book ever since.
Yeah.
But I put it on like a back burner because I was concentrating more on the company and, all this other stuff that we've been doing. So it was on that back burner, and I would add to it and then forget about it, then add to it and forget about it. And then I think it was last year that I really drove into it, and I was like, okay, I'm finishing this. And I got you
Yeah.
guys to edit and everything. And I was debating, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this section. We're going to add this and see who wants to, be added. And then we'll take it off. And no, my husband's like, yeah, then you're going to come up with an excuse to add something else. He's all, you're never going to stop.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I admit that's true. So I'm just going to stop it now, close
There you
it,
go.
stop it, get it out.
And like what Will says, like write another book, or let's say you're just like, I never want to write another book again. You can always like revise and do like an updated version, like
That's
with extra content,
yeah,
things like that. You know what I mean? It's like there's no shame in having a second edition to your
right.
book too, if it's a different route you
That's
can go
true. I
down.
didn't even think about that. That is true. But I was thinking, because I was thinking, it would be nice to add like, the town of Florence, because they don't
Yeah.
get a lot of that attention. Um, but then I would be rushed on trying to get everything in there, because no matter what, I want this
Yeah.
out by October.
Yeah.
I'm like, if we get it out before October, that's great. But no matter what, I want it out by October. And I was like, that would mean being rushed into it and all this stuff. And Will's like, you can always do a second book or whatever.
Yeah.
And, I was thinking it would be nice to do like a book about all these small towns like Florence that get overlooked.
Hmm.
Because there's so many little small towns here in Arizona that do get overlooked and they're haunted and they're historical. But, everyone focuses on just certain towns like Tombstone or Jerome.
Yeah.
So some of those other little small towns, it'd be great to get them some attention and get them some business. And,
Yeah.
I'm thinking, well, maybe that would be the next thing we do.
Yeah.
Get this one out and then focus on small towns, just exactly small towns of Arizona. I'm sure they would all appreciate it,
Yeah.
especially
sure.
nowadays with the economy. Every small business is really wanting that push.
Yeah. It's like haunted Arizona road trip. That's what I'm like picturing in my brain. Yeah, it's like all
Yeah.
little small towns.
Hey, and that means Tucson Ghost Society gets to go out there and discover all this.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's fun for us, road trip,
No, yeah, for sure. I always like exploring like my own state. Like I feel it's like I have so much left. Arizona's like a big state. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's like compared to like it's like all the west states in the west, are just like so much bigger compared to like northeast and stuff like
Oh,
that. Like
yes.
we have so many pockets of
Yes.
our state that are just like never been to, never really thought about, but then you like hear more about it and you're like, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't until a couple of years ago I even knew like about Oatman, right? With the
Uh-huh.
donkeys and everything. And I was
Yep.
like, I wanna go. I wanna go.
Yeah, I actually went there last January. So not this past January, but last January,
Yeah.
because I had learned about it. And, being that I'm into all the haunted history and, I love animals, and to find out it's a haunted town and they have donkeys roaming free, I'm like, I want to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to go. And so we went. And it was really cute. It's definitely like a day trip, but you have to spend the night because it's like a long drive, to get there. But it was definitely so cute. And the donkeys do like go right up to the businesses, right up to people. They're so cute. And when you're like driving out of town, there's like this little area you can like go in and park. And the donkeys will come like right up to you
Oh,
and they'll come like right up to your car. And I'm like, oh, it's so adorable. I got so many pictures. I like posing with a donkey. I'm like, come here, let me take your picture.
I love it.
But it was so fun. I would love to go back there and see if we can investigate some buildings. That would be really cool.
That would be really cool.
But Will and I started last year doing like just these small little like Arizona getaways for the weekends. Like we would just start to drive and go to like an area of Arizona we've never been.
Yeah.
And there's so many that we still haven't been to. It's like you were saying, the states out here are so much bigger than, back east and all that stuff. I remember living in Ohio, and then I also lived in the Kentucky and Tennessee area for a while. And I remember you'd just be driving and you're like, oh, in another state, oh, in another state. It's like you would just cross those state lines so quickly. It's like you do an 8-hour trip and you crossed over like 3 state lines.
Yeah.
Out here, yeah, no, you're still in the same state.
Yeah, depending on which way you're going, where you're starting from.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you start from like Tucson and drive, up, 8 hours later, you're still,
Yeah.
you can still be in Arizona depending on which way you take, Yeah, and especially Texas. Oh my goodness.
Oh, yeah, that's the worst.
Driving through Texas is the worst. No offense to anyone who lives in Texas. I love Texas. It's a fun state. Been there several times, several different cities. But driving through it, oh my God.
Oh yeah, I've driven through Texas twice. Like getting to like the Midwest. So I was helping a friend move to Michigan, so we like cut across on the 10. And then another time I went to something else in Iowa. So it was like the same path essentially on the 10. So it was like during that northern like section through Abilene. It was torture, I tell you. I was like, oh my God. And then after that, when you go through Oklahoma, where there's literally this like flat green, I was like, I can't do this. I was like, I can't live here. I was like, I need something. I need a mountain. I need hills. I need trees. I need something in the background. I can't just have flat. That's all you can see. I was like, I felt weird. I was like, I couldn't deal with it.
Yeah, I've driven cross country, gosh, probably like 5 or 6 times. Um, from Ohio to Tucson about 3 or 4 times. Trying to think. I think about 4 times. And then from here to Kentucky, the Fort Campbell, Kentucky, Tennessee area.
Mhm.
I did that once or twice. And there was a couple times that we decided to go all the way through Texas instead of cutting up through New Mexico and only going through
Mhm.
the tip of Texas and then Oklahoma and all that. It felt like forever in Texas. I'm like, are we out of Texas yet? Nope,
No.
still in Texas. I'm like, when are we leaving Texas? Yeah, I think it's a black hole. We got sucked up into Texas, or whatever.
Yeah.
Exiting Texas. But we only did, the whole drive through Texas, I think twice. And all the other times we decided, let's go through New Mexico and only hit the top of Texas. And we're not in Texas the entire trip then we can
Yeah.
see a little bit more scenery.
Mhm.
So I like road trips, but at the same time, like you said, I want scenery. I don't want the same things over and over again. And I do remember, I think it was Oklahoma driving through, and we drove through a time where it was like kind of like nighttime, not completely like overnight, and it was, I can't remember, I want to say maybe like spring or fall. And I do remember seeing elk at the side of the road. And I was like, oh,
Oh,
those things were huge. I was like, oh my God, look. And they were literally like at the side of the road staring at you. And I was like, well, that
wow.
was interesting.
Yeah.
So that was fun. I like seeing wildlife. That's always fun. That's like one of the things that we started doing when we're doing like these little road trips in Arizona. We'll like look for all the animals, and I'm always the one that calls out the animals. Look,
Yeah.
cows.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like they don't know how popular they are. They're being yelled.
Exactly. Yeah.
Look, it's a cow.
Yes. For sure.
We went up. Oh God, I forget where we went, but they were supposed to have bears, and I'm like, I'm looking for a bear. I'm like, where's a bear? Where's a bear? And everyone's like, you want to see a bear? And I'm like, yes, I want to
Yeah.
see a bear. And raccoons. That's like my favorite. I keep trying to find a raccoon. And I have not seen a raccoon out in the wild. I'm like, I want a raccoon.
Want to hear a funny story about a raccoon? So
Okay.
my mom feeds the feral cats here because she is a cat lady.
Mm-hmm.
And so she feeds the feral cats outside. And this was when like I just moved back here. So it was like in 24, like that summer. My mom put like a motion sensor security camera so she could like see the cats. Because she's
Mm-hmm.
trying to do like the trap neuter like release program because
Right. Okay.
they
Yeah.
keep multiplying. So she's
Yes,
trying to
of course.
capture them to stop it from happening. So we have like the motion camera so you can kind of see, so you can kind of like figure out like the trapping situation and stuff. Like so I was just moved here. My mom's like, "Come here, watch this video," and I was like, "What?" A raccoon in Mesa pops up and just starts eating this freaking food.
Oh
That's
my
the only
goodness.
time we've ever seen a raccoon. But I was like, "What the heck? What do you mean a raccoon?" I was like, "What?" I was like, "That's not here. Raccoons are like you see in like more northern Arizona
Right.
and
Yeah.
stuff." But I'm like, "Not here." I was like, "What?" It's
Oh my
surprised, and
goodness.
that's the only time we ever seen a raccoon. But yeah, raccoon eat it, and it's like looks right in the camera and is eating the freaking food.
Oh my goodness. I'd be like, it's Miko. I want to keep it.
Oh my god! Yeah, it was.
I know. I see all those videos of like people with raccoons and stuff, and I'm like, I want one so bad. They're so cute. Then
Mhm.
again, I want like every animal, but
Yes.
I love raccoons. I would have been like, I'm going to go out and get the raccoon. You didn't see anything.
Yeah.
That's funny though. Yeah, you don't really see them out here, unless you
I
get into,
know.
some of those other parts.
Yeah. I wonder maybe I don't know, maybe Mount Lemon might, towards the top might have something because that's like more it's like speed,
Yeah,
but
wooded area. Yeah.
I don't know.
I
I
don't ever
definitely
even see deer when I go up to Mount
that's
Lebanon.
true. I
So
feel like
it's
it's just
like,
so small, so maybe
yeah, and
not
they have
really.
bears. They have the bears and all that stuff. I never see any of that when we go up there.
Yeah.
And trust me, I'm looking. I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to see the animals. Seeing them in a zoo is one thing. Seeing them out in the wild is something else.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
course, I'm not going to approach them, but
Yeah.
although sometimes I'm dumb enough to where I might. Oh, look at that cute little raccoon. Yeah, that wouldn't be a smart thing to do.
No, that reminds me just like, we hear about like people at the national parks, especially like Yellowstone and how they get kicked by the freaking bison and stuff and they go to the hospital and or
Oh,
die because they go too close. I'm like, that's what you get. It's like you look at it, don't try to go pet it though. I
yeah.
promise it will not be a good time for you.
Yeah. Disappointing, but yeah, I know better. It's like that part of me would be like, "Oh, come here. I got something for you." And then the other, part of me, especially my husband, would be like, "No.
Yeah, nothing.
Don't do that, Becky. No." But I am an animal lover. I just, those animals are just so cute.
They
You can't help but to want to hug them, but not always a smart idea at all.
Mhm.
But yeah, we should do like a little haunted road trip. We
That'd
can
be
look
fun.
for animals that I'm not allowed to touch and haunted places. You'll just have to slap my hand. No, Becky, you can't touch
No,
it.
Becky.
You can't take it home. Will kill you if you take it home.
Yes.
And he would. Yeah, he would be like, no more animals. Like, boo. But yeah, a haunted road trip would be fun and make a second book out of it.
Yeah.
That would be
Yeah,
really fun.
it'd be
Pick
really
little
fun.
weekends to be like, okay, this weekend we're going here or whatever.
Mhm.
We definitely. I'm determined now. Second book
Yeah,
is going
okay.
to be a haunted
I'd be like,
road trip book.
there we go.
There we go. That's what we're going to do. It's just going to be focusing on small little towns that everyone has forgotten about, and we're going to go and have some fun.
Yeah.
And being that we're an all-girl trip, group right now, it would be easy to get hotel rooms, and we can all just
Yeah.
split the cost, no problem. Can all drive each other crazy, have a little
Exactly.
girly talk, things that won't go in the book.
Yeah, right.
I think that would be fun though. And like I said, right now, the little small towns and small businesses, they really need help. So that'd be good.
Yeah.
But I'm excited about the Florence coming up and the fact that, we're going to get this book pushed out hopefully soon, as long as I don't mess it up.
Yes.
I have to add that as long as I don't mess it up. What else do we got going on? I think just the Tombstone, the book, and the Florence. Tombstone is kind of fading away. Only because of the fact that there's so much competition in Tombstone. Like so much competition. And it's like when you go to Tombstone and you want to do a ghost hunt, you usually head towards Birdcage.
Yeah.
That's like the place that people go. So it's hard to get the focus off of Birdcage to do a ghost hunt. I mean, Undertakers is a great place, and I'm going to keep working with them. But we were doing it like every weekend. It just got to be too much.
Yeah.
It was like trying to travel there, and you weren't necessarily traveling every time, but having a cutoff at like 2 p.m. and not really being able to plan anything because you didn't know if you were going to have to head to Tombstone or not.
Yeah.
It was hard. It was, I got worn out with doing that, So I decided, I'm going to cut back on that. I'm still going to, do the Undertakers and everything, but I'm cutting back. And I'm hoping that people will still book, fingers crossed, but I know that there's a lot of competition. And personally, I know that Birdcage gets a lot of it.
Yeah.
And I get it and everything because they have, the long history. They're well known. But, Undertakers is good too, people.
No, I would say it's probably experiences there. Definitely quite a few various like interesting and experiences there. I feel like almost every time we went, something would happen.
Yeah, Undertakers is, a good place to go. That it's very active. But I do understand, that when people go to Tombstone, especially if you're not in Arizona and you just get like that one trip to Tombstone, I know you're going to focus on the Birdcage.
Right. That's what they know. That's what they've seen on online and on TV and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I get it. So there's a lot of competition in Tombstone because of that. So I don't want to stress myself out with it because of the fact that I know this. So we're still working there, just not every week. I can't stress myself out with every week. So
Yeah.
we still have that in the books, though. We still, of course, have Tucson. We have JoJo's. The only issue with JoJo's is it's always on Monday nights, and I know a lot of people don't like doing this stuff on Monday nights. But it's a good place, though. I love JoJo's. The history
Definitely.
there and the haunts there, the little girl spirit there. Oh gosh, I love her. She's like always so fun. Um, and then we have our walking tour, and hopefully it'll stop being invisible as long as people start
Yeah.
doing their research about the locals. Then they'll find me when they look for local ghost companies.
Yeah.
But the Florence, I'm really, people seem to be excited to have us going there. I know Mariel, the director of the museum. Oh, she's like pushing for this. She's like so excited for us to be there. She's been like talking to me a lot about it and so excited. And she's all, "What do you need me to do? I'll do it."
Yeah.
She's like so eager. I love it. The support there. I'm like, thank you. I appreciate this support because, usually I'm doing everything, the team takes it on. And to have someone else like, let's push this for you. Let's do this. Let's, get out there and,
Yeah.
get you seen. I love it. I
No,
was just like,
I really liked, the one time I did meet Mariel and we were like able to talk about like a lot of the fun stuff, like the stuff about Florence, and she gave me some like some like books to be able to do research, which I definitely used in my research. Um, like when I've been researching like the town as a whole and being able to like take a look at, some of the stuff they have there at the museum was like really neat. And I was like, oh, I envy your job. I wish I could have a job like you.
yeah, she's been like really helpful.
Yeah,
I adore her. Like she like did a trip with me to Florence to try to introduce me to some people.
that's good.
Very helpful, very sweet. I'm so excited to be working with her and the people I have met in Florence. That are like, yeah, we'll talk to you and blah blah blah. So sweet. Just such a really nice and cordial community. I'm like so excited to get to know them and work with them all. I'm really looking forward to that because they just really seem to want you there,
Yeah,
and they're very welcoming about it. So I'm really excited about that. I think, the last time I really had someone that welcoming and that like, let's promote you would be Tamara from the Historical Society out here.
yeah,
She was, always like, let's promote you guys. Let's do this. And I've always had that, good relationship with Tamara too. And I really think that Mariel is going to end up being the same way to where it's going to definitely be, we continue to work with her, down the road for a while. And she's mentioning doing these monthly. I'm all for it if she's all for it.
yeah,
If everyone approves, I'm fine with it. I think that would be a great thing to do. And, they always, have all the historical archives and stuff, bring something new out, let us see,
yeah.
if there's any energy to it. I would be all for it. I would be happy and thrilled to do this.
Yes.
Speaking of energy and object attachments, we did the market with Tamara, the
Hmm.
terror and oddities market last month. You weren't able to join us because you were out of town.
Mhm.
But we did this market, very cool market. Definitely, more original merchandise, just small little shop creators putting their stuff out there. We did decent there. From what I heard from
Yay.
everyone else at the market, it was actually a slow market. And then we
Okay.
think it was because of the weather, because that was the day that it was actually like a winter day here and we got rain and stuff like that. So they were all saying it was actually a slow market, but we still did decent for it being a slow market. But we went around and we talked to every single person at every single booth. I introduced ourselves and told them that, we're all about supporting local people and that we do our little Sunday Facebook or and Instagram post about supporting other local companies. So I got to talking to a lot of them. And there's one booth in particular that she does have dolls, and she had some haunted dolls. And so there was one doll in particular that I couldn't keep my eyes off of her. I had this like connection with her, I swear. And then when I found out it was a Marie Osmond doll. Now, if
Ah,
you
okay.
know me, I'm a huge fan of Donnie and Marie. Used to watch Donnie and Marie show. Well, Marie Osmond at one point in time created a line of dolls. This is one of the ones that she
Oh,
created.
wow.
So, excuse me getting up here. Look at her.
Ah, how cute.
She just has this look about her, like she's
Yeah,
looking into your soul.
I know. And she has like this tiny little like smirk. She's like, I see right into you.
Yeah, she has like this little playful, like, haha, I'm gonna pull your hair, you know.
Yeah.
But she comes with like a certificate and everything.
Oh,
I
wow.
like
Yes.
had to get her. I was like, okay, that look and the fact that it's a Marie Osmond doll,
Yes.
I was like, I have to have her. So I got her. She's sitting in my bedroom. My youngest daughter, Bailey, does not like her. She doesn't like any dolls. I moved a lot of my other dolls that I have because I have a ton of them. And I moved a lot of them into my closet because Bailey did not want to see them, but she's out on my printer. And I have like a little bunny next to her to kind of give her
Aw,
like a little
a friend.
buddy. Yeah, like a little friend. But this is like it comes with a certificate.
Oh, wow.
And she came with like a little bracelet even. But it's I don't know how good y'all can see that, but it's a Marie Osmond,
Oh, yeah.
collector. The doll's name is Emmeline or Emmeline. I just call her M for short.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, she just sits up there and she stares at me every night.
There you go.
um, it's so funny because the first night I brought her home, I'm always skeptical. You know, I'm a paranormal investigator. I know a lot of people will say something's haunted, and it ends up not being haunted. You know, they you know let their imagination get the best of them or whatever. You know, not that they're full of it. You know, it's just some people don't understand that it's not necessarily paranormal. But the first night I brought her home, she's sitting up there, and I'm just like falling asleep, middle of the night, sound asleep, and I hear in my ear, "Excuse me." And I'm just like, okay, where did that come from?
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't think anything of it, went right back to sleep. This stuff doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
I'm so used to, being woken up by, things. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, going back to bed. I'm tired.
Yeah.
Aubrey saw a little girl come into her room that night.
Oh, okay.
And she said the little girl said something to her and then left, but she was like half asleep and she didn't know what the little girl said. So we both had something happen that night, but since then, not really anything that would like stand out to make me go, okay, that was,
Yeah.
we've had some odd things, but then again, I always have some odd things here and
Yeah,
there.
there's always odd things going on.
Yeah.
So,
In my house, it never surprises me if I have activity, I'll be
yeah.
like, oh, I have a visitor.
Yeah.
They come and go. They follow me from locations or, sometimes they know I'm coming before I know that I'm coming there. I don't know how that works, but I had one case where, and this is going to be in my book, to where I did an investigation. And before I did this investigation, like I think it was like a week before or a couple days before, I woke up to an apparition in my room of a soldier. And I didn't really know any part of the people. I knew general that they were seeing apparitions, stuff like that at this house. When we went to this house, they got more specific and told me that they were seeing a soldier and described the soldier, and that's who I saw in my house.
Wow, yeah.
And I'm like, I hadn't even gone to the investigation yet, but yet I had seen the soldier. So I was like, okay, so they found me before I found them. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. But it doesn't surprise me anymore. I've been doing this since 2013.
Yeah.
I think the first, year or so, I think it would like kind of be like, oh my God, something followed me home or what have you. But now I'm just like, something followed me home. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, they'll get tired of being here or whatever. They'll leave. As long as they're not destructive, as long as they don't frighten my youngest,
Mhm.
I don't care if they stay. You know, it
Yeah.
does not bother me. We always have rules in this house, and I'm always very clear with anyone who decides to come visit me. I
Hmm.
don't care you're here. Just don't break anything. Don't be mean,
Yeah.
and don't scare my youngest daughter. Leave her alone. As long as you follow those rules, stay as long as you like. I don't
Yeah.
care. Yeah.
I did very similar rules kind of like for my house because like I've had some things happen. I don't think anything's ever followed me home, but I have
Mhm.
like my dad's ashes in my room. And so like when I first like got him put out like in my room, my sister's too freaked out to like have him basically anywhere else. I was like, I'll have him in my room. It's okay. Things like that. But it was like I saw him kind of like walking past, like kind of like a torso up.
Mhm.
And then also one night I was like falling asleep and then I had like a male voice like right in my ear be like, good night, like really loud. And I was like, whoa. I remember after that, and my boyfriend spent the night one time, and he was like, I just felt like I was getting what stared at, and I just kept hearing weird things. And then I had to be like, okay, Dad, if it's you, I was like, or whoever else is in here, only when I'm in here. Otherwise, you're gonna scare everybody. I was like, you're not allowed to leave this room. You're gonna scare somebody. Just had it, yeah, very similar. I was like,
Yep. These are the
don't be a
rules.
mean, don't be mean to me.
You're like, I want a boyfriend, Dad. Okay.
No, literally, literally. I was like, I think I talked to somebody about this like recently. I was like, I remember I said to that, I was like, I promise he's a good one. I'm like, don't scare him off.
Yeah, I just, I have to have those rules in my house, because I do get followed home quite often,
Yeah.
and I do have, visits apparently before cases, and I do buy things like, the little dolls and stuff like that. So it's not anything new. I've had this happen a lot of times, and I just lay down the rules to each and every one of them. I'm like, here's the rules. If you do it, we'll have no problems with you.
Yeah.
And most of the time, no problems, no issues.
Yeah.
There's been a couple times that I've had some that, didn't want to listen, so I had to go around and bless my house. And usually that works and it's good.
Yeah.
But, especially when I brought this one home, I had to bless the brick from
Oh,
Pompeii.
the brick, yeah.
That one had to be blessed. I will admit, I spent a lot of time blessing this because of the fact that it did not have a very positive energy attached to that for sure. But I
Hmm.
mean, hello, Pompeii, the city freaking burned. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is one case that I'll never forget. The client's telling me, "Oh yeah, my children see burnt children," and I'm like, "Okay, that's weird." And then he's like, "Oh, and by the way, I have this brick from Pompeii," and I'm like,
You're like, look at
"Did
the
you
two dots.
not put that
Connect
together?"
them. Connect the dots.
And then when I finally, made that comment, he goes, "Oh yeah, take it." He didn't want it anymore. And
I
it's
mean,
like,
hey, he's like, his kids are saying burnt children. I'd be like, sure, whatever works. Here you go.
but I remember that case so well because of the fact that he's telling me, "Yeah, we're seeing burnt children," and then he mentions on an afternoon, and I have this brick from Pompeii, and I'm just like, "I think that's what's doing it." And he goes, "Well, then take it. I don't want it anymore." Like, okay, I'll take it away. But that I did have to bless. I did feel the need to bless that one for sure. But other objects I brought in, not necessarily. Just if
Hmm.
they like don't do what I asked them to do.
Yeah.
But most of the time they're respectful and it works and
Yeah.
it's fun. People probably think that it's fun. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fun. This is what I do for a living. I
Yeah.
love communicating. I love, having that happen. And it's just something that's a part of my life. So it doesn't really get to me anymore. Like I
Yeah.
said, I can see something and, it might give me that shock factor to where you don't expect it. Like I've gotten tugged on or something and I've screamed.
Hmm.
Not because it scared me, but because I didn't expect it.
Yeah.
And then after it happens, I'm like, oh, that was cool. Do it again. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I remember screaming my butt off the one time I got tugged on really hard at Fox Theater. But then when I realized it was paranormal, I'm like, okay, do it again. I'm sorry I screamed, but do it
Yeah.
again. What scares me is thinking it's a human. The human race scares me.
No, yeah. I feel
I
that. You're
think
just like, last
everyone
thing
can
I want to see
agree.
is run into a person. Like,
Yeah, you know, you go into like a old haunted building, when you see something, my thought necessarily isn't, oh my God, it's a ghost. I'm thinking, is that a person? And if that's a person, are they armed? Do they have something like
Yeah, right? It's just like, am I faster than them?
Yeah,
I'm like, me, probably not. I move too slow. So I'm just like, I was like, ah. No.
you know, but that's my first thought, you know, or if I feel something on me, my other first thought is it's a bug.
Yeah.
You know, and then when I realize it's paranormal, then I'm cool with it. Then I'm like, hey, do that again. But you know, a bug or a real person is more scarier when you're investigating a haunted location than anything else, you know, could
Yeah.
ever be. And for people who don't investigate the paranormal, I think they can still have the understanding if you have you know, especially if you have a fear of bugs, why bugs would be scary. But especially out here in Arizona with all the lovely deadly critters we have,
Mhm.
that's very scary.
Yeah.
And then I think people in general can understand how scary some people can be. So, you know, if you're in an abandoned location and you're all girls, yeah, it can be scary not knowing if that man, you know, is a real man or a ghost.
Yeah.
If it's a ghost, it's awesome. We
Yeah.
love it. If it's a real man, not so much.
Yeah. No, no, no.
Oh man. All right. Well, it's past our hour.
Oh,
We are so sorry it did not work out for Debbie. We will have to try to reschedule her and do a test screening beforehand. I don't know why she couldn't hear us. I know she was saying things at the bottom of the screen. I'm sorry, Debbie. I didn't have on my glasses. I couldn't read it. But again, Debbie, I'm very, very sorry. We will try to reschedule you, hopefully get you on. If we have to do a test screen beforehand, like get on earlier and test it out, we will do that. To everyone that listened tonight, thank you so much. Kyrra, if you want to go ahead and say what you want to say.
all right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Yeah, and stay spooky.
All right. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate your time. Check out TucsonGhostCompany.com. Like I said, we got Florence coming up. We're still doing Tombstone. We still have our stuff in Tucson. Be on the lookout. That book, I'm hoping, will be out within a couple months. I'm really excited. Pray for me that I don't screw it up. We appreciate, you know, you supporting local. And even if you're not in Tucson, if you're ever going to do a ghost tour or anything like that, please research the local ghost company. Take their tour. Small businesses, we really need your help right now. So thank you. Support local. Do your research. TucsonGhostCompany.com. Find us all over social media. And until next time, remember, you're never truly alone. Good night, everyone.